boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. It appears that three-weight world champion Michaela Mayer was awarded the Sports Illustrated Female Fighter of the Year. And I was talking about this just the other day, that oftentimes towards year's end, at the time of year they start handing out these awards, it feels like they're drawing from the same list of names over and over, especially when it comes to the female fighters, as many of them seem to get overlooked. And oddly enough, at the end of last year, I saw a good number of awards go to Clarissa Shields, and I don't know for what, since nothing she did that calendar year moved the needle. Not in a boxing ring. Maybe her beef with Layla Ali got a lot of attention, or her big announcement that she would be re-signing to Salida Promotions alongside Win Records. That got attention, but not any of her fights. She won some more vacant titles in the heavyweight division, I think it was, but I think that fight with Danielle Perkins garnered a lot more criticism than praise, since Danielle was a 42-year-old fighter with only 5 professional bouts who had never been in a 10-round fight and wasn't a champion of any kind when Clarissa fought her, yet this is who she had fought for undisputed, and for that, a bunch of people gave her a bunch of awards. Nauseating. Where I thought to myself, what about Michaela Mayer and the fights that she's been having, not just in the last calendar year, but the last year and a half or so, and how from the time that she loses that controversial decision to Natasha Jonas, she's only gone from strength to strength. She's only gotten better and better and better to ensure that that doesn't happen again, to leave no stone unturned and leave no doubts after a fight is over. Look at what she just did north of the border in Canada to their champion, Mary Spencer. She beat the fucking crap out of that girl. And before that, the 2 fights that she had with Sandy Ryan, both of which were thoroughly entertaining. It just felt like Michaela was due some sort of recognition, some sort of an award, and as luck would have it, she got the Sports Illustrated Female Fighter of the Year. I think is well deserved. I've noticed about Michaela over the years, as I've watched her develop, that she has a penchant for making things happen. Consider the tumultuous situation that her longtime promoter, Top Rank, is still going through without a new broadcast partner, and in spite of this, she still managed to land a title fight at a new weight, and she still managed to win it, all while her longtime promoter is going through hard times. So you have to wonder, what happens next? What can she make happen? And is it not time now in 2026 to perhaps change her decorum? Because if Top Rank can't get it together soon enough, should Michaela even stay over there? I've always got the impression that Michaela likes it over there, but that arrangement may have outlived its usefulness. I don't know what the future holds for Top Rank, and Michaela Mayer shouldn't let that stop her, because I'm sure that a Matchroom or an MVP would be happy to have her if she separates from Top Rank. There are still a good number of fights that she can have, anywhere in between 154 and 147, and she still is one of the very best female fighters in the world. I have no doubts that when the sun sets on Michaela Mayer's career, she will go down as a Hall of Fame fighter, a Hall of Fame inductee. She's going to Canastota. Though as far as the not-so-distant future and what it might hold for the 3-weight world champion, you know, that Lauren Price fight is there, but Top Rank can't afford to make it. And Boxer, assuming Lauren Price is even still with Boxer, they can't afford to make it either. But you know who can? MVP, if Michaela were to decide to pair up with them. Practically every other noteworthy female fighter already has. Stands to reason that if for some reason Michaela's not with Top Rank anymore, she should go to them. Not just for a Lauren Price fight either. Chantel Cameron is also over there, not doing very much. Her old buddy Alicia Baumgartner, a rematch between them. I could go for that as well, especially given Alicia Baumgartner's recent run of form, that a lot of the boxing fans now seem unimpressed with her last 2 outings. You have to wonder, if her and Michaela fought again, would Michaela not get the best of her this time? I saw a lot of people after the Jennifer Miranda fight saying they felt Jennifer Miranda won. I saw a lot of people saying that Alicia looked flat in her more recent fight with Layla Boudoir. But you have to wonder if Alicia fought Michaela again, now that Michaela is at a higher and healthier weight for her, if Michaela wouldn't get the best of her. Things to think about in the new year. Will Michaela stay with Top Rank? And if she doesn't, if she goes to MVP, what can they do for her? In men's featherweight news, unbeaten Bruce Carrington wants immediate unifications if he defeats Carlos Castro on Ring 6 undercard. There are too many excuses to name them all, but one Bruce Carrington heard frequently was high risk, low reward. To the other featherweight champions, fighting Carrington never made sense. In the past, Rafael Espinoza, the WBO champion, and Angelo Leo, the IBF champion, told him that he needed to get some hardware first. Well, if everything goes according to plan, and he beats Carlos Castro on Ring 6 later on this month at New York's MSG, he'll wrap the WBC title around his waist should he win. The days of everyone looking the other way, he believes, are over. I want to unify titles immediately, Carrington told The Ring. Like, if I have to do a mandatory or something, then fine. But I want to unify the division. Once I get this belt, none of those guys will be able to deny me. Oh, if only it were that simple, Bruce. I mean, do you see the champions at featherweight in any hurry to fight each other? That of course they're not in a hurry to fight you, but look at them. Do they seem in any hurry to unify? The door for Carrington, 16-0 with 9 KOs, to become a world champion flung open in recent weeks. Stephen Fulton won the WBC strap by beating Brandon Figueroa on February 1st of last year. Although Carrington called him out, Fulton elected to move up. After failing to make weight for his 130-pound debut against Oshaki Foster on December 6th, Fulton lost a wide decision. He then opted to drop his featherweight title. Carrington, before getting his chance, was ranked highly in all 4 sanctioning bodies. His desire to fight for a title was somewhat placated when he grabbed the WBC Interim Championship with a win over Matias Hayta. Patience is something Carrington uses to his advantage inside the ring, but outside of it, he had to both learn and depend on it. Now that everything has sorted itself out, the Brooklyn native can't stop himself from smiling. I'm just waiting, man, Carrington said. It was frustrating at times, but I knew my time would come. Now, I've just got to go out there and take what's mine. Talking about patience, I noticed over the last 12 months there are a lot of boxing fans that ran out of patience with Bruce, even though he's not the one to blame for his current predicament. If the champions at featherweight aren't even in a hurry to fight each other, then why would they be in a hurry to fight Bruce? They wouldn't. So when you say that, he's in his late 20s, and you want to see him fight somebody good, well, there, I agree. I want to see him fight somebody good too, but does somebody good want to fight him? No, they want to wait for Inoue. If you want to talk about what the holdup is, and what the holdup has been in the featherweight division, it's that a lot of those guys with belts have been waiting for a guy that's downstairs. Money is the reason? If Inoue were not worth the kind of money that he's worth, they wouldn't give him that much consideration, that much of their time. So what it's going to take for Bruce to land a fight with one of these guys is going to have to be money. Money! Now for the silver lining, Bruce is set to make his Ring Magazine appearance as a Riyadh season ambassador on the undercard of Lopez versus Stevenson. So that essentially means that Bruce is a fighter who is on His Excellency's radar. If he goes out there and he wins in good fashion, puts on a show, and becomes WBC champion, Turkey may feel so inclined to use him again. That's what he did with Nick Ball, the current reigning WBA featherweight champion. He's made more than one appearance on Turkey's shows. So currently he is otherwise preoccupied with his mandatory challenger, former champion Brandon Figueroa. He's got to take care of him. If he's unavailable or will be for the foreseeable future, where does that leave Spruce? 2 other champions at the weight, and Rafael Espinoza and Angelo Leo, who aren't doing much, to where if Bruce snags the green and gold title and Turkey pulls some strings to make another fight happen for him, it could likely be between one of them, Rafael or Angelo. I believe that Angelo Leo, the reigning IBF champion, promoted by Pro Box, would be the cheaper alternative. And I believe that is simultaneously a more winnable fight than the Rafael Espinoza fight. Maybe they go in that direction. Rumor has it that the people at Pro Box are setting up a homecoming fight for Angelo.
Yeah, some shit like that.
It's about time that unification matches happen in the featherweight division. The holdup has been they've been waiting for the money man at 122 to move up to 126. But if Turkey throws some of his own money in the mix, they might start to fight each other.
Bruce is in a hurry to unify, likely because he's a fighter who's in his late 20s, who's been making 126 for a while now, and he knows, he can feel it, that he can't keep making that weight forever. It won't be long before he has to move up to 130.
You know, it's not enough to just pick up a vacant title at featherweight because one became available. You want to have a meaningful fight there, a significant one, before you leave that division, at least one. Too many guys with too many belts running around for something not to happen. So hopefully, if Bruce takes care of business later on this month and impresses His Excellency, maybe he'll throw some money his way to make an even bigger fight later in the year. Fingers crossed.
In men's heavyweight news, you may have heard earlier today that Anthony Joshua is imminently retiring from the sport of boxing, as his uncle has revealed that Joshua broke the news to his family recently that he's decided to step away from boxing following his recent accident in Nigeria. Joshua's uncle, Adedamola Joshua, told The Punch, "The major thing there is that he has retired from boxing. That is one thing that makes us glad, because each time he's fighting in the ring, we are always carried away emotionally." Joshua's uncle said that the family are happy with his decision. Each time he's knocked down, it is just like the heart is coming out of our chest. All these emotional feelings whenever he's fighting, it's too much trauma for us. Also, now that he said that he's leaving while the ovation is highest, we are happy.
It was widely speculated by many, after the accident that he suffered, that might be enough for him to walk away, that you can't just go through the motions and go back to normal having endured what he endured. To muster up the spirit and interest to what now seem like trivialities in the greater scheme of things. Anthony already made enough money a long time ago that he could have actually retired a long time ago. He didn't have to keep fighting. He still doesn't now.
But this pushed him over the ledge.
In a manner of speaking, those weren't just two comrades, two compatriots that he lost. Those were literally members of his training team. So any semblance of training, it'll be too much of a reminder of what he no longer has, what he just lost. And people, it's only been a week and a half.
Simultaneously, because it's only been a week and a half, I wouldn't get too settled on this news. Maybe what Anthony needs is time to himself. A lot of it. If he were to retire, stay retired, I would not be surprised. But also, so soon after the accident, you don't wish to rush to assumption. The wounds, after all, are still fresh.
Psychological ones, because we know that Anthony, God bless him, walked away from the accident relatively unscathed.
Carefully ain't got survivor's guilt.
I mean, listen, he ain't happy right now, you know what I mean? And he don't need nobody waving camera flashes in his face, asking him questions about what he's gonna do and who he's gonna fight and how's he holding up. Right now he needs his privacy. He's mourning.
He's grieving.
He will be for a while. This is not the kind of thing you shake off after a couple of weeks or even a couple of months. This kind of thing stays with you for years. If for no other reason, then he almost died himself.
Could this really be the end?
It very well could. Because up until that accident happened, we all know what the story was and what the talks were. They had big plans for Anthony this calendar year. A fight in February, some kind of an interim fight, then a big showdown with Tyson Fury. All of that has changed. Given what he just experienced, I imagine it would be very difficult to muster up any genuine interest in doing all the stuff that you've been doing, what all now seems like trivialities in the greatest scheme of things, because it can all end in the blink of an eye, and you know that intimately.
The driver of the SUV that caused the accident is set to be brought up on charges, but I hardly think that's any consolation for Anthony.
That guy's got to just take some time off, get away from it all, and learn how to smile again. It's going to be rough. Though as stated, from his fight purses alone, not even counting sponsorships and endorsements and outside investments, Anthony's made more than enough to retire comfortably.
Wish him all the best.
Elsewhere in the heavyweight division, per veteran boxing scribe Jake Donovan, sad news for the purse bid heads. Double dose of cancellations for today told that yet another extension was granted for Frankie Sanchez versus Richard Torres' IBF Eliminator.
There was also something in there about Adams versus Aguiarco, but I ain't interested in that.
At a time where Top Rank is between broadcasters still, and no new news is circulating, Richard Torres is a fighter you want to pay attention to because this is a guy who not that long ago they were very much invested in. So whatever happens with him might give you some insight into what happens with them.
Top Rank has at least one fight scheduled on the calendar at the end of this month, the Zayas versus Baru fight, but that's the only one.
Matchroom has already announced several shows for the first quarter of the year. So is Queensbury. Golden Boy to a lesser extent. At least we know what they have planned.
One or two shows I know of.
But Top Rank, what the fuck is going on with Top Rank? Whatever's going on with Richie, that might tell us that if they are requesting an extension, they want more time to negotiate.
Who's supposed to be picking up this fight? Frankie Sanchez used to fight on the PBC side of things, but it's been a long time since he fought under that promotional banner. Richie, as far as I know, is still a top-ranked fighter. He fought in a very small fight south of the border in association with Top Rank last year, so I get the sense he is still affiliated with them, and if anybody's negotiating on his behalf, it would have to be them.
The hope has got to be that in spite of the radio silence behind the scenes, Top Rank has something in store for the boxing fans. They're set to return and make something happen, and Torres versus Sanchez is a part of that. Fingers crossed. Now, as far as the fight itself, if it happens, I do feel that Richard Torres has the sort of come-forward pressure style that might cause Frankie Sanchez to unravel. Frankie Sanchez, like many Cuban fighters, is a long-range, long-distance fighter who likes to stay on his toes and behind the jab.
Heavyweight version of a pure boxer, and we saw what a bit of pressure did to him when he was opposite the ring. Agit Caballel was bearing down on him and going to the body, throwing punches and bunches, putting pressure on Frankie. I think Richie can do something similar.
This is a fight of some consequence. It's an IBF final eliminator, meaning whoever wins the fight goes on to become Usyk's mandatory challenger. Oh, it's early in the career of Richard Torres, and those eggs do need more bacon, but I trust this kid enough that I'm leaning towards him to win the fight and stop Frankie Sanchez.
What I've seen of Richie reminds me of Kid Dynamite, reminds me of a young Mike Tyson in the sense that he's smaller than a lot of the other heavyweights in the division, and he fights out of a sort of peekaboo style, fighting at a slight crouch, bending at the waist and knees, tucked behind a mid-guard, bringing over big looping shots, heavy ones.
A la Mike Tyson, a la Joe Frazier.
I don't know yet if he's got it in him to go on to become an undisputed champion, but at minimum, I think he can win a belt. At least one.
We'll see how far he goes and what the future holds for Richard Torres.